Welcome to the Reconnection Club podcast, the show that helps parents heal troubled relationships with their adult sons and daughters. I'm your host, psychotherapist Tina Gilbertson. Each week, I'll offer you compassion, clarity, and personal development tips designed to help you reconnect, not only with your child, but with yourself. Now let's get started. Occasionally, a parent will tell me that they're either fearful or frustrated because their estranged adult child appears to be holding a grudge. They wish the child could let go of the past, forgive his parents for not being perfect, and allow them all to be close again. Now, that's understandable, but the idea that holding a grudge is the genesis of estrangement may not be the best way to look at it. The phrase holding a grudge in itself contains a certain amount of judgment. It implies that something happened in the past that wasn't good, but it's over now and things are better. So the grudge holder seems to be insisting on continuing to feel bad about something that's over and done with. It's like they're choosing to be unhappy. And so in that sense, holding a grudge is wrong. It's something that none of us should do, for the sake of everyone involved, including ourselves. It's pretty hard not to feel judgmental about such destructive behavior. But from what we know about people who estrange themselves from family, according to both the research and my clinical experience, holding a grudge doesn't quite capture the truth about estrangement. I think there are at least 3 things to keep in mind when you're thinking about this concept of your child holding a grudge and that being the reason for the estrangement. The first is that whatever happened in the past that was a problem for your child, it's not necessarily over. From the child's point of view, there could still be something going on that he finds painful or harmful or upsetting, and he's holding himself apart from the relationship in an attempt to protect himself from further distress. An example might be if an adult child feels criticized by the way his parents communicate their concerns about his life choices. Parents who are anxious about how their children are doing may unwittingly communicate, "Hey, we don't trust your basic competence." Even if that's not at all what you want to convey, if you've ever felt anxious about your child's safety or security, or her ability to be reasonably successful in life, you could have given the impression that you were feeling critical rather than simply anxious. In a case like this, it's not a grudge that's keeping the problem alive. As long as the parent feels anxious about the child, the problem remains in the present in every interaction between them. So that's the first point, is that this is not necessarily about something that happened in the past that's over now. The second thing to keep in mind when considering whether your child is holding a grudge is that the thing she seems to be holding on to is not necessarily an isolated incident. For her, it may be part of a larger pattern that she's been noticing for some time. Let's say that you did something she didn't like, and that was a turning point. She cut you off. It seems like there's just that one incident that you didn't even get to explain, and she flew off the handle and is now holding a grudge. But what if the reason she flew off the handle is that one incident was actually not just one incident, but simply the latest in a series of incidents that were hard for her? What if it was actually the straw that broke the camel's back? This is something that comes up again and again in the research on estrangement between parents and adult children. From the point of view of the adult child, there was not one incident, but maybe one too many of the same kind of incident that led to the decision to become estranged. For example, an adult son may feel disrespected by his parents for years and put up with it without the parents' knowledge that anything is terribly wrong. Maybe he tries to talk to them about it, but they don't realize the depth of the distress that he's in, and so it doesn't feel imperative to the parents to change the way they talk to him. But one day he feels disrespected yet again, and he just can't take it anymore. From his point of view, he's reached his limit. But if his parents haven't fully known and appreciated what he was feeling and how long he was feeling it, they might just think, why can't he forgive us for that one incident? Why is he holding a grudge? So don't assume that what caused your child to distance himself was an isolated incident. It may have been part of a pattern that you weren't aware of, but that your child tolerated for a long time before the estrangement began. The third idea to consider if you believe your estranged adult child to be holding a grudge is simply this. Why would anyone want to carry the weight of a grudge? It's hard. It takes energy every day, and it throws a wrench into the works of important relationships. Why would your child make such a choice? If someone is holding herself apart from a relationship long after any damage was done, to me, that suggests she is fearful of getting hurt again, and/or that she has little confidence in receiving a sincere apology, let alone seeing a change in the pattern. Protecting oneself is understandable. Holding a grudge that takes energy and robs you of a good relationship makes no sense at all. Fourth and finally, when you assume your child is fixated on the past, you're essentially saying there's nothing you can do about the situation in the present, and you can't affect the future of your relationship either. You're signing up, in a sense, to be powerless while gazing at your child from a distance and wondering about his sanity. That sounds like a pretty rotten place for any parent to be, and most likely it is not an accurate reflection of reality. When it comes to estrangement, or any other serious problem in a relationship that's important to you, never choose a mindset that frames you as powerless. Always look for ways to use your power to make good repairs. You can do a lot with goodwill and good information. Let me review those 4 points so that you have some better thoughts to switch to the next time you find yourself chewing on the idea that your child is holding a grudge. First, don't assume this is just about something that happened in the past. There may be an ongoing issue that you can address. Second, the thing that led to the estrangement may seem like a single incident, but look for a theme or pattern in past complaints from your child. If the inciting incident was part of a larger pattern, it's important to understand that so you can address not just the incident, but the negative pattern that it's a part of. Third, remember that no one wants to hold a grudge. It takes tremendous energy, and it's just no fun. If someone can't let go of something, it's because what's needed for that person to move forward hasn't happened yet. Fourth and lastly, when you assume that your child is holding a grudge, you're saying that there's nothing at all you can do about the situation besides wait for your child to change his mind. That puts you in a position of feeling like you have less power in the relationship than you actually do, which makes it less likely that you'll put that power to constructive use and make repairs. Always assume that as the parent, what you do now, today, matters. No matter how old your child or children, you will always be the parent, the senior adult in that relationship, and so your words and actions will always carry weight. If your child is unhappy in the relationship you share, that does not have to be the end of the story. Get information, get support, and get yourself on a path of personal healing and growth. As long as you're on your true path, you don't ever have to give up hope of having a positive influence on your child. Until next time, remember that you are a loving, lovable, and still growing human being. So please take good care of yourself. Bye for now. If you've enjoyed this episode of the Reconnection Club podcast, I invite you to check out ReconnectionClub.com. The Reconnection Club is for parents at any stage of estrangement from their adult, child, or children. So whether you've just realized there's trouble between you, you've been living with estrangement for years, or you're newly reconciled but still walking on eggshells, the Reconnection Club is your essential resource for information, support, and continued personal growth. With our courses and workshops, expert interviews, monthly Q&A calls, and a friendly, active community, the Reconnection Club is a wonderful place to be for anyone suffering the pain of estrangement from an adult, child, or children. So check it out at ReconnectionClub.com.